For the last decade, Michigan's been the most physical team in a conference that is synonymous with physicality. We're talking Big Ten football. Extra hits, out of bounds, right on the sideline, punches for the ball, 13 personnel running the rock straight at you. Michigan embodies that identity. So, how did these flashy boys from California take it straight to them this weekend? Well, one, they stopped the run. Michigan has ran the ball about 53% of their plays heading into the game versus USC. That's the 11th highest rate in the Power Four. Wolverines were fifth in the nation in yards per attempt at 6.6 and sixth in yards before contact per attempt at 3 yards. Translation for all that, Michigan's offensive line was moving people. In this game, USC's defensive line didn't let that happen. I got 2 plays for us right here. On both these plays, it's the defensive tackles for USC being more physical and dominating the center and both guards for Michigan. On both these plays, Michigan's trying to stretch their offensive line. They're trying to reach the defensive tackle for USC, meaning defensive tackle here, they're trying to reach him with the guard. And leverage-wise, if you're running this way, the USC's defensive line has the leverage win right here, because that's a tough ask for this guard to reach this defensive tackle, right? Just from a movement standpoint, USC has to win that battle. They cannot let Michigan do that, and that's exactly what happened in this game. Right there makes it happen. What jumps out to me, though, and USC fans will love this, this is what's going to make USC defense better in November, I think, in late October than they have been in years past. Right here, the defensive line for USC, you have 10, 4, 97, and 6. Keep those guys in mind, because the very next play, it's different faces. USC has not had this luxury in years past. In years past, it's really been like, okay, a starting line that you like, but then when you get into the second group, it ain't that good. Another example right here, great push from the defensive tackles for USC. And when we get to the back view, different bodies. 10's the only carryover. Then here you have 8, 88, and 1. The ability for USC's defense to platoon defensive line, it's important at every level of football. I guess you're not really platooning your youth football defensive line. But USC, I can't express, they've not had that luxury in years past. You have to have that to win a championship. And as teams start to have injuries and fatigue the back half of the season, as you just play more games, that's a huge advantage for USC. USC was also able to get it done with blitz packages. And I made a tweet, I believe it was 3 weeks ago, before this was even a USC video. I was like, if I was a defensive coordinator facing Bryce Underwood, I would blitz to the field all day long. And the reason is Michigan runs so much rollout to the field. And I think they do that because they have a young quarterback. And so by rolling out, you divide the field in half, meaning he only has to read, one side of the field. So if I was a defense, I would bring this guy all day long, put a defender right in a young quarterback's face. I thought USC and D'Anton Lynn's blitz package this game had excellent timing. Get Eric Gentry, force Bryce Underwood to manage that, because he's not going to. Or not that he's not going to, it's going to be hard to. Young quarterback, flush him out. Right here, defender in his face. This guy's open. He's running back. Hard to get to, though, when you got Eric Gentry 6'4" in your face. And then the next blitz, just because if you're watching this video, you're a football X's and O's, you love the X's and O's. I thought this was a excellent design by D'Anton Lynn. Right here, it's 3rd and 9. This dude is going to make this sack. The body language, the defensive structure gives no indication that this is the guy that's ultimately going to blitz. Also, because you have 1, 2, 3 defenders, 1, 2, 3 receivers, 3 on 3. You don't really have a safety over the top. I mean, yeah, he's a center field guy, but if I'm Bryce Underwood, I'm still a young quarterback. I'm not thinking that USC is blitzing from this side. But look on the snap of the ball. USC brings pressure and little nuances. That's what confuses an offensive line and or not the offensive line here, but the running back. This is the running back's responsibility to pick up this blitz. But what happens, actually, don't quote me on this. I forgot exactly how it plays out, but I don't know if it's running back or the left tackle. But what happens is this defensive end loops underneath, which then forces the left tackle's eyes to go inside, and he misses the linebacker coming from back around. Also, the running back here there's a lot to manage right there. This running back on the right-hand side has 3 defensive linemen he's got to manage, and coming back here for the blitzing linebacker, he doesn't get them, and ultimately this linebacker gets home. I thought this was an excellent third down blitz design by D'Anton Lynn. But it couldn't just be one side of the ball. After USC lost their 2 running backs, Wayman Jordan and Eli Sanders in the first half, freshman walk-on King Miller came in, burst onto the scene, 158 yards on 18 carries, 8.8 yards per carry for a guy that only had 11 career carries heading into the night. USC rushed for 6.2 yards per rush, the most that Michigan has allowed since the 2022 Fiesta Bowl versus TCU. And if USC is running the rock well, you could say the same thing when Lincoln Riley was at Oklahoma. The counter scheme for USC is working. Lincoln Riley swears by this scheme. This is it right here. The backfield will be better, but you're pulling both the right guard and the right tackle around. The left side of the offensive line, the center, left guard, and left tackle are washing down these 3 defensive linemen. And just to not go crazy with the drawing, I'll explain the rest from the back view. But then it sets up for lead blockers. And ultimately, at that point, it's one-on-one with the safety, running back, who can make a guy miss. Safety over pursues. You cut back into this lane, and it's a home run shot. Also noteworthy, little things which we'll get into. Michigan's getting a little cute with the coverage. Michigan's saying, hey, I'm going to trust my defensive line. They're rolling back to 2 high safeties. We talked about it with LSU's offense and how difficult it is if defenses are going to sit in 2 high structure, which that's what USC is going to get. When you got Makai Lemon and Jacoby Lane, defenses are going to want to get to 2 high. If you have that look, you have to be able to run the ball, because in this blocking scheme, imagine if this safety was down in the box. You don't have a hat for that guy. So then that might mean, hey, this run's only maybe a 3-yard gain. Instead, you're able to break through and block all 4 defensive linemen and 2 linebackers, make a safety miss at the second level, technically the third level, come up with a big time run. That's money. All right. Blocking scheme. USC's right guard and right tackle. They're pulling around. They're blocking out this dude and this dude. The left side of the offensive line is washing down these 2 defensive linemen. Jade Mayava, he's responsible for this defensive end. This is the safety that they're going to make miss. If you can give for a hat on a hat, this is a dangerous, dangerous play. Make a dude miss. Huge run. Then 2 plays later, and that's why I wanted to highlight this. 2 plays later, they go back to the same exact scheme. You guys know the blitzing look. Right guard, right tackle, pulling around. Except this time, they use Lake McCree as a decoy and act like he's breaking out and getting on a pass concept. And then after his first 5 steps, he's then going to block this defender. This defender gets all turned around, but it's the same blocking concept inside. You get a hat for a hat. Left guard picks up this end. The right tackle is going to loop through and get this linebacker. Running back makes someone miss, get to the second level. There's no defenders on that side. Boom. This is probably the latest in a USC breakdown that you'll ever hear me say these 2 names for the first time, but it's Jade Mayava and Makai Lemon. We didn't know USC's defense could go toe-to-toe with Michigan. We didn't know USC's offensive line would be more talented than Michigan's defensive line. But we did know that these 2 dudes were ballers. Mayava went 25 for 32, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns was thrown to Lemon, who finished with 9 catches and 93 yards. Let's look at that play right here. route concept, you got a slot fade by Lemon, then you got a hitch on the outside. If this corner leaks off and defends the slot fade, you're hitting this hitch all day long. On the bottom, you have Jacoby Lane, who low-key I think is better than Makai Lemon. I don't know if that's like a super hot take. Maybe it's just the former quarterback in me who always loved tall receivers and was envious. I never really had, I guess we had Michael Pittman, but I always loved and I grew up watching Dwayne Jarrett and Mike Williams and all those guys. But Jacoby Lane's an absolute baller. But anyways, the concept on the bottom of the screen is you got Lake McCree, who's going to do like a spray release corner, but he's really just running off the defense. So then Jacoby Lane can get off the ball slow and then dig across right across this corner's face. What's got to excite you if you're a USC fan is defensively for Michigan, they're only going to rush 3 guys. This linebacker is going to drop, I believe it's this linebacker, but they're only rushing 3 guys, and they have 1, 2, 3 safeties deep. They're dropping 8 dudes into coverage, and even with 3 safeties deep, you're still able to hit Lemon on this slot fade. If you're a Michigan fan, you should be pissed about that. But for USC, you should not be able to throw against this look, but yet they are still able to get it done. Check this out. Kyle Lemon slot fade. Excellent throw by Jaden Mayava. Allows his receiver back shoulder, make a catch, make a play. That's big time. That play we just saw, Lemon on one side, Lane on the other. But think about how lethal it could be, or currently is, and will continue to be, with Lane and Lemon on the same side of the field, especially in red zone concepts. You got Lane here, you got Lemon here, stacked on top of each other. Do you go zone there? Do you go man there? And this is an excellent design by Lincoln Riley, knowing that, hey, right now you got Jacoby Lane. He's the sidekick. What they're going to do is they are going to act like this is a bubble to the side. Lane's going to act like he's blocking. And at that point, this corner's thinking, hey, I got a trigger, right? Lemon's dangerous. They're trying to get him on a little bubble screen. I got a trigger right now. And then when he does that, Lane's going to break across the face. This is so hard. If you're only going to have 2 defenders out there, 2v2, it's like basketball. What's your how many 2-man games do you have? You go pick and roll, you go pick and pop. Well, right here you got this is pick and roll. This is football's version of pick and roll. I drew the wrong defenders there, but it's the same exact point. You got Jacoby Lane blocking, and then he's going to release right there, and there is no one there for Michigan's defense. Boom, touchdown. And this was Michigan. This was the Big Ten's fist, and USC came into the Coliseum and handled business. The beauty and absolute pain of that, though, from a USC Trojan perspective, is that you're going to have to do that at an even higher level in South Bend next weekend versus the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. If USC can do that, beat Michigan and Notre Dame in back-to-back weekends, they're going to be forgetting about that Illinois loss.